This is SeeUs.TV, featuring interviews with various guests as we discuss interesting topics and upcoming events. And also join us as we visit public and social gatherings throughout the Pacific Northwest when SeeUs.TV is out and about. Welcome to this episode of SeeUs.TV.
Aloha, I'm Gloria Nahaela with SeeUs.TV Northwest. And today we have a beautiful lady with us. Her name is Kalia Quinores. And you are a budding entrepreneur.
Yes, I am. I try to be.
Why don't you share a little bit give us a little brief history of what your process was to think about being an entrepreneur in today's world.
Okay. Well, it started with the idea of needing to budget.
That's always good.
So I put together a budget and realized I just wasn't making enough money. So I needed to find strategic ways to bring in more income, more streams of revenue. So started learning about making money online and different ways to do that, affiliate marketing and stuff like that. And so I ended up building my own blog. And it started out just being a blog about dogs. And because I have a dog of my own now too, recently adopted one a year ago. But I realized that dogs are more than just dogs to me. So I started talking about how dogs play on my mental health. So now I have Front Seat Ryder. I've been blogging for about 2 years, and to make that into more of an income stream, I also started a pop-up shop. So I'm kind of like a mobile boutique. I go to different vendor events and different shelter events, and I team up with other organizations to help them with fundraising or different adoption things.
You're doing this really well. I'm loving this because I wasn't quite sure how to explain your business. But you had some reasons as to why you wanted to start working with dogs, in particular with part of the self-development that you had shared. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. So I've actually dealt with a lot of mental health issues in the past. And when I started diving into more of my self-development, I realized that animals in general have been really instrumental to developing myself and really diving deep into what my triggers are and what makes me tick. And so I started just writing out my history, and that's kind of how the blog started. I went back to thinking about when I first started dealing with anxiety and depression and what helped me there. And we ended up moving to a farm, and we had at least 20 animals at a time. And so I pride myself in growing up in a barn. And they just became my closest allies, and I'd share with them everything. I'd talk about my day, and I realized there's a lot of lessons to be learned from animals in general and how they correspond with each other of the same species, or whether they're interacting with other species. And dogs is just a really fundamentally, when you think about dogs, you think about man's best friend. And so it kind of stemmed off to me finding a company called Dog is Good, and they're out of Orange County, California. And one of their programs is called Fur Cover Wisdom, and I started with them a couple years ago. And basically the co-owner, Gila Kurtz, this is her and her dog Bolo, she points out all the different, what she calls dogisms, and what lessons we can learn from our dogs and how they can impact us on a day-to-day basis. And then she kind of creates little designs to go around that. So it's really been instrumental in my mental health and my progressing in personal development.
So specifically, was there anything that you saw in this book that helped you transition into your business? Because today it's a tough business to get into, starting your own, with
Yes.
no brick and mortar kind of businesses. A lot of folks started off with that. But in today's world, you can actually do this electronically. So, it's kind of challenging.
It is. One of her dogisms is never walk alone. And that kind of speaks to the aspect of being able to choose who you are around and who you involve yourself with, and making sure that you weed out all your negative influences, per se. So being able to build my business online, I've been really able to pick and choose what, say, like masterminds I'm in, or what business-minded groups I'm involved with, that have really helped me grow my business, even though you're by yourself, but you're never in business alone. So it's really been helpful to have people by my side, even though I'm growing it by myself, being able to choose who I'm with.
We had an interesting conversation about the millenniums. We were talking about baby boomers and millenniums, and what changes has occurred. Okay, and you know, you've been raised by baby boomers, and so one of the articles we were listening to on the way here was about that, and that they were misunderstood. Can you share a little bit about what that misunderstanding is all about?
Yeah, so each generation kind of has its own little milestones that it has to overcome. And one of the things growing up that I remember personally is the concept of the participation ribbon. As a kid going through sports or different stuff like that, we all got ribbons for even participating. So even last place got a ribbon. And psychologically, that kind of does something to the idea of a reward in general. It kind of devaluizes, is that the right word? The idea of first place. And it also actually plays on the psyche of the last place person feeling not worthy of the ribbon that they're getting anyway. So it kind of makes everyone not feel very good. And those are some of the aspects that the millennials have grown up with and been told, you know, you're so special and you can do all these things, you can be whatever you want. And then they end up getting graduating, getting into the workforce, and realizing that's not necessarily the case, and really taking a hit on their confidence and their you know, pride inside, and end up internalizing that. And I think they get a bad rap because they're misunderstood in that aspect. So I forgot where I was going with that.
Well, the fact that we were talking about how they're being misunderstood because millenniums are considered more entitled. They have they've been told how special they were, and their mommies and parents would take care of everything that they needed, so they would fix everything for them. So the millenniums are growing up not really knowing, not having the confidence, like you say, anybody can just get a participatory ribbon, but they may not have earned it.
Right.
So there's some of that, and so when when you enter the work field, what happens?
They just get shut down. They try to give out their ideas, and if they're not met with a round of applause or a participation ribbon, then their confidence is just shot. And they end up hiding away and internalizing that pain, and then therefore being looked at as either not participating or just not giving it their all and being more of a lazy member of society. So,
and that they're entitled to whatever they want.
Right, just for showing up. Well, I'm here, I'll get my paycheck.
And it's that instant gratification that needs to be. So, here you are, you're starting a business. Have you seen any of these, I know you're looking at the book that helps you with self-development and self-growth. Has it helped you with your business?
Absolutely. I've gone leaps and bounds, and it's really pushed me out of my comfort zone in so many aspects. I've now spoken at conferences, and I'm, building websites, which I never imagined could be possible. And I've just taught myself along the way. Nope,
you don't have to have a degree for a website?
Nope. Don't have to do the typical go to college and nope, you can do whatever you want. You can have it all. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
So how long has this venture been for you now?
It's been 2 years I've been blogging, and then a year worth of pop-up shops, so still very new. still building the airplane as I fly it.
Well, I was really impressed with your blogging and how kids today can grow their business through blogging and through the internet. I mean, we did the old-fashioned kinds of advertisement where we paid for radio advertisement and TV advertisement. You need to make sure you had your ad spaces, print. I mean, there was all kinds of things that we had to do in order to reach a larger market. And our market was really ending up becoming just really demographically our region and our area. Today, you can actually blog and reach your business to globally. Isn't that kind of daunting?
It is very daunting. Yes.
Because now you need to be able to do the shipping and... So do you have very many local customers, or are all of your business done globally?
So far, since I've only had a year under my belt, I've had specific locations that I've been targeting around shelters that I have personal ties with, where I've adopted my animals. And then kind of like my hometown where I'm living now. But what has helped is getting out of my comfort zone, like I said, and networking at the events I've been at. And so pretty much every event I've had, I've met at least one other person that has either other events or other network opportunities to be able to really grow and build. And that also helps get me out into the real world instead of being stuck behind the blog screen. So.
Well, I'm really glad that you are getting outside of all that, and that you're actually, your impact in talking to people, you're learning to have conversations with people. And I think that that's something that, you know, in this world that we live in, most of us have our phones right here, and we can text with one another even at dinner when we're out, or at home when we're with families. We could be sitting right here if I wanted to reach you, because I might be talking about the folks out behind the camera. I can actually just text you. And it's just different today, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Totally different. So I love that we can sit here and have a conversation. But you know what? You also have other products besides these two books. And you carry, like this one, I love this one. Adopt a Positive Attitude.
Another brilliant dogism. And make sure you keep a positive attitude every day. Just like dogs do. They wake up happy. They're happy to see you. They're happy when you come home. So, yeah.
And you have created this beautiful lei. You know what this is? What's on here?
We have lahala and cowrie shell and kukui nuts.
This is awesome. The kukui nuts and the mini curry. This is really easy to make. This is kind of fun to do. We should actually do one of these days. But this is really beautiful, and it shows all of the beautiful elements of our islands. So back to, what's one last thing you would like to be able to share with everybody about your business, and why would you want them to come and take a look at your website?
Well, so Front Seat Ryder is all about having that companionship in your life. He is the co-pilot of my life and helps me day to day, gives me purpose, helps me with my mental health. So just take a look at the designs and see what resonates with you, because I don't just sell t-shirts, I don't sell gift items. I really sell that feeling of how you feel, how great dog can make you feel, and living life with dog. So
I have to share something. I love pets, but I'm not the best pet owner. So I had an opportunity recently. To house sit a friend's home, and what came with this house sitting was the first one we've had that it came with having to watch and take care of the pet's home. We literally were the guests of the owner of the home. And when we had an opportunity to spend time with I can say his name is Orion, and he is this beautiful dog, and I just fell in love with him. And he allowed me to be able to just relax and just be playing. And I tell you, I fell in love. One of the reasons is because he barked like crazy, making sure we were not intruders, but as soon as he found out who we were, he was really cool about that. But just to find someone who was a cheerleader for you, I mean, you know, he was so happy to see us, and he was so sad when we were going to be leaving. That's a real loving aspect of being around a dog.
They really challenge you to be present in life. You have to be there. So that helps with your mental health as well.
Oh, yeah. So this particular Orion, one day, we were having a conversation. And my husband hears me talking to Orion. Orion is barking at me, and of course I turn around and bark right back. And then he stood back and he took a look at me again, and he barked again, and I barked right back at him. We were having this conversation. It was a very friendly conversation. And so towards the end of it, it was fun because I watched Orion just kind of stand back. Finally stand back and looked at me, and he put in the last word. And I was cool with it, and then he was cool. He came over and sat with me. It was like the coolest thing. I've never been in that kind of personal relationship with dogs. And it dawned on me, they also are little beings that need to be loved up on, and he did a really good job of loving up on me. And so I admire your company for what they do. And I love the change in you. What one thing do you see has made a change for you in running your company?
I have definitely gained a ton of confidence in myself. I mean, I still have a long ways to go, but yeah, I've been able to talk to people more confidently, hold a confident presence, been able to really stand up for what I am working for and what I believe in. So that's one of the biggest things I've noticed.
Well, I commend you because one of the things you do is help the rescue dogs as well. And every single one of our pets need to be treated well. So thank you, Kalia.
Yeah, thank you.
For being here with me. And so I just want to say, I'm Napua or Gloria with SeeUs.TV Northwest. Okay, so today we have our next guest is this lovely Leah Cook. And she is considered an ambassador, our Aloha ambassador for the Kalama Heritage Festival. How did you get that name?
You. Actually, I've had some connections with some of the artists, the performers that are in Kalama for the Kalama Heritage Festival. And I've had quite a bit of contact with them, and Gloria and Bill have asked me to represent the Kalama Heritage Festival. And I've done that by way of a website that I've started on Facebook. Well, it's called the Pineapple Connection, and it's been very, very successful. I've received a lot of connection with the artists and in personal connection with them, and have been able to gear them towards Gloria and her husband for performing at the Kalama Heritage Festival. It's been my honor.
Well, Leah, it's not just, you are just such a special woman.
Thank you.
And you have a way of being such a fan of many of our Hawaiian musicians. Not only Hawaiian musicians, I mean any of our musicians around, because you have a real compassion and love for music.
Yes, I do. Yes, I
And
do.
I think you probably go to more concerts than anyone I've ever known.
That's a fact. I love the music. I think that the artists are touchable. They are very personable. Where here in the mainland, they're really not. You can't get to know them personally. So it's an opportunity that I have had that I have not abused. It's just been part of my life, and for some reason it has stayed with me for a number of years. And I look forward to many, many more years of this. It's just it's a passion that I have, both for Hawaiian photography and for the artists, and I can combine that with their permission to do their photography at some of their shows. When I'm in Hawaii, I can touch base with them as friends, which is a very pleasant situation. To be known by some of these very special people is an honor. And it's a feeling of being home, even though I'm not Hawaiian. I'm only Hawaiian at heart, but I do have a passion for Hawaii, its traditions, and its music.
Well, you're Hawaiian. Your last name it's Leah Mao.
Well, yes.
Cook. Okay, so Mao.
When I grew up, all my friends and my teachers thought that I was Hawaiian because of my last name, either that or Chinese. But I quickly told them that it was German, and that didn't make much sense to them. But yes, I was always mistaken for being Polynesian, and I think that that's where the root started, was when I was very little, and that it was a calling in some way of get involved with the Hawaiian way of life.
I saw your wedding pictures with your hair clear down to here. You were definitely Wahine.
Yeah, yes.
Definitely dark, and you looked
dark. It went down to about middle of my thigh at the time, and yeah, it was very heartbreaking when I had to cut it, but I went a little extreme.
So that mau is part of that Hawaiian-ness
It could
that you
be.
have. Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
Yes.
You brought some beautiful samples
Thank
of
you.
some of your work.
Thank you.
And some of the artists you have had an opportunity to meet and take beautiful pictures. This one is...
That's Barry Flanagan of the group Papa. He's one of my favorite musicians. I can actually say that as far as guitar playing, he is just spectacular. I love the way that he performs, and he really gets into his music. As you can see in this picture, he is literally talking to his guitar in his own way, and his spirit and his charm comes through in the muscles and in the veins that are performing. The man's incredible to watch.
And his face.
And his face
is in
it's
ecstasy.
enduring.
Very endearing
Very
towards
endearing
his music.
towards his music and his guitar.
Yeah.
And his guitar is called Excalibur, and he has a very near and dear experience with Excalibur for about 38 years.
Well, Hapa is one of the icons of the islands of Hawaii.
Oh yes, for contemporary music.
Yes, for contemporary music. We have another beautiful shot with Keola Beamer.
Yes, he is a dear individual that I had the chance to be behind the scenes at his concerts on the sidelines, and we had visual communication during this shot in particular, and during this shooting. He was quite a character, and he shows his comic side, his personal comic side when he performs also. So we had a good time taking that one.
And Keola comes from a long line of very iconic who's who of the islands of Hawaii with Nona Beamer and his mom.
Mm-hmm. And he was performing with his wife, which is just beautiful. She does beautiful hula.
The two of them together.
The two of them are a great combination.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing, and he's carrying on his mother's work.
Very much so.
But also launching off his own work of what he has done.
Yes.
So
yes. And he comes up to Seattle quite a bit. Actually, Hapa comes up to Seattle quite a bit also. So I'm looking forward to their return. Keola's actually going to be up here in January, which I just found out last night. So they're returning quite soon.
There's a lot of groups that have been here. Just last night was...
It's phenomenal. I saw Kalani Paya last night put on a great performance, both in traditional Hawaiian and his contemporary, and it was a beautiful performance. They usually are when they come here. They have a great following. We have a large Polynesian group of people up here who like to be connected back to the islands, and doing so in the musical way is wonderful. I think it's a great experience for the artists as well to stay connected.
This last photo you took you brought with you today,
yes.
One of my favorites. This is my kumuhula, Uncle George Naope.
Yes.
And can you share a little bit about how this picture came about?
The night before this picture was taken, I had met him through a mutual friend, introduced me to him, and he was a dear personality with hugs and kisses and very vibrant. And the following day I went to one of the stores out in Honolulu called the Fabric Mart, and just so happens that he was out there shopping for fabric for his magnificent shirts and costumes. And he spotted me, and I spotted him at the same time, and it was a hug given both ways. And he allowed me to take the picture in kind of a natural surrounding instead of a musical surrounding. And his personality really came out when he was going through the fabrics and choosing what it was that he actually liked. And he likes red.
He loves red.
He loves red.
He's not a quiet, shy, retiring man.
Oh, no. No,
So he would wear a lot of flamboyant colors.
Definitely.
And he always was very coordinated with his hats and his whole costuming or his clothing.
He's a perfectionist.
And of course, he comes with the entire gold.
Oh, yes.
That he wears with it, but an iconic individual.
Yes.
But I love this picture. So I had noticed on your Pineapple Connection, you have a following from where?
It just snowballed. It just came online, and I just thought it was going to be a bunch of people getting together to talk Hawaiian style, show off photos and what have you. And it ended up being attached by some of the performers who actually asked to be invited. And they have joined us to help promote their shows, both in Hawaii, California, and up here in Washington. And they feel very honored to be able to help promote what they are doing for us. So that's the reason why it came about, and it's been snowballing along the way. And we have a number of very, very special people on board, and that's an honor for me.
Well, I remember one of them that I just, Googled when I was looking at the Pineapple Connection, and I was curious as to who this person was because she was a kumuhula as well. And here she came from, was it Austria?
Yes, Austria.
And
of all places.
Of all places, and we're connecting, just making a message to one another. And she was in the middle of the snow, and dancing this song. I think it was Ka'uluwehi Okekai, something like that. And it was just such a hoot to be able to see her dancing, and I could actually dance right along with her. Yes. Here I am on Western Washington here, and then she's over in Austria. So you've been able to make those connections all over the world.
Well, it's worldwide. We're all connected in some way, and with the modern day, with social media and what have you, you can do it much easier. And that's the reaches that we've made are pretty phenomenal. So I think I'm still excited about keeping it up.
You have a lot of people on there.
I do. And the neat part about it is they're friends. They're not just acquaintances. A lot of them are very dear friends now. And it allows me to go back to Hawaii periodically and be treated as family, which is obvious with the Aloha way. But, to be treated as a special person by these famous artists is it's quite enlightening, and it's very heartwarming. So that's part of the special part about this.
One of the stories I thought that was really interesting that we shared was a young gentleman named Bruno Mars.
Bruno Mars, yes. Dear Bruno.
You know.
His uncle.
I wanted you to share that.
Okay, Johnny, here we go. Johnny Valentine is a performer in Hawaii. He was just voted as most impressive or most popular artist last year by people. Okay, this is a people vote. It wasn't just a regular nomination. But Johnny Valentine is a very dear person who performs in many places, but mostly at the Moana in the courtyard. And it's a free concert, and I suggest that everybody go and see it because it's wonderful. But Johnny and I have gotten to be friends. I've known him about 20 years now, since he first started at the Moana, and we have a lot of chuckles together. He was sweet enough to actually use one of my photos in the center of his last CD that he released, and he surprised me with it in the middle of one of his performances. And I just put the CD down on the table, not realizing that there was something to it. And my husband says, maybe you should look at it. And so I looked at the CD, and I opened it up, and there was my photo, and it was a very dear surprise for me. And he and Bruno Mars started out as Elvis tribute artists. Johnny used to do it as a job, and he brought Bruno up, and Bruno Mars at 3 years old, he's still the youngest Elvis tribute artist. So little Elvis grew into big Bruno Mars. It's pretty impressive. And every once in a while, Johnny will be performing, and Bruno will show up without letting anybody know that he was in town, and he'll walk out on stage and surprise Uncle Johnny. So it's kind of special.
I love those stories because not very many people know about that.
No, that's true.
And you have had plenty and plenty of musicians.
Oh, yes.
Have you thought about how many names of folks you
I have not counted
followed?
the numbers. I guess now that you bring it up, I guess I should, just for my own peace of mind and what have you. But I have quite a collection of different photographs, and most of them are with permission by the artist, which is a very special deal. It's not that I just go to a concert and start shooting. So that's the special part. I like to make it more personalized and approved by the artist. And that started with when I was running a website originally, and I always got the artist's permission to put something new on the website. And I think that's very important.
Well, I love your pictures. I wish we had a chance to take a look at all of your hundreds of CDs.
Not enough time, I'm sorry.
Photos.
Yes, thank you.
And just the few that I've received and seen, it's like, I love them all. It's like, oh, I like this, and I like this. You have a wonderful way of capturing
Thank you.
the artists in their element, and yet it's the beautiful part of what they do,
Right.
and how their passion for music.
That's
You
the
can
most
just see it.
important part, is to see the passion firsthand. You don't see it on a CD. You don't see it in a video. If you go and see him perform live, it's entirely different. The passion is there, and the passion comes out in the people that they are performing for.
Well, I know how passionate you are about them, because even at your home, you have this okay, it's everyone's dream is to have a jukebox
Oh gosh, yes, I have a jukebox
of all
yes,
genres,
Actually,
especially Hawaiian.
Yes, we have a digital jukebox. It's not a regular 45 jukebox.
I know. I had to. It sounded good to say that.
But I have pumped in a number of Hawaiian music artists. Their CDs, which most of them are personalized, which is fun. And the jukebox actually looks up the liner notes and the covers for most of the music that's inserted into it. But in my case, it's been a privilege to have the covers signed by most of the artists, and I can display them on this jukebox. So it's very nice. And I currently have, I think there's a little over 1,000 CDs, and 600 of them are Hawaiian. So, a little overboard, but
a little overboard. Are you kidding? I was in my heyday. I was like, oh, let's try this one, and let's try this, and let's check this one out. And
yeah,
it was fantastic. I mean, I was in heaven.
That's one of my favorite toys.
It became mine too. So I'm just letting you know.
That's good. That's good.
It was a lot of fun. Well, Leah, I am really glad you came by and decided to share these beautiful photos of the musicians. That you know, it just shows. You are so aloha. You are definitely not a Hawaiian non-Hawaiian. You're a Hawaiian at heart.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be Hawaiian at heart. I love it. And
we love it.
The people that I've met have just been wonderful.
And all these hardworking musicians, I'll tell you what.
I wish them all blessings.
They love fans like you.
Thank you.
So I just want to say that thank you very much, and a shout out for Leah and folks like her that continue to help support all of our artists. Thank you so much for coming and viewing us today. I want to say thank you to our guest, Leah Cook. And the next time, come see us with Cousin Wally.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Is it now?